When we go live, you're on.
Hi, it's Lou, and hello. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Tuesday. This is our new time that we're going to be doing our Facebook and YouTube Live. So, welcome, welcome. Hopefully, I'm going to have some great information that'll transform and help your business. Today, I was planning to talk about trusts, and a question came up this morning that really caused me to pause for a second and say, I will talk about trust next week because there is such a powerful and important thing going on right now. And if you're like a lot of landlords, you are struggling with certain collections. Now, maybe all of your people are paying, and maybe you're not having any issues at all. Well, let me tell you what I've been able to help a lot of people with in their businesses. It is a game changer. It is something different. It is something unique. It is something that most landlords are not doing. And it is something that I introduced to my team and my licensees several years ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago. And it has transformed a lot of people's businesses. And that is collections. Now, we all know that collections are a part of our business. And certainly, if one of our residents does not have the money to pay, well, that's a problem for us, isn't it? Because we use their money, of course, to pay our mortgage payments, to pay property taxes, to pay insurance. We use that money to be able to forward the business and sustain the business. And hopefully, there's enough left over for you to buy some groceries with and some other great things. Well, one of the things that I came up with is the fact that we actually put our residents in a challenging position. Think about it this way. Every month, the rent is due, right? It's a chunk of money. And for some of our residents, it's their whole paycheck. They talk about Whole Foods being whole paycheck. No, it's the rent that's the whole paycheck. Now, imagine that there was a solution for that. So I started looking, and I'm always looking at my residents. I'm always looking at how I can help them. I'm always looking at how I can support them. I'm always looking at how I can make their life better. And one of the unique things I developed was a way to actually get direct deposit from their job. So, what that means is if your residents are paid weekly or bi weekly, well, they've got that income coming in. Now, imagine this, that every month, every pay period, a certain amount is taken out of their pay and direct deposited into your bank account. And this is one of the big solutions. I'm looking at your paycheck, I'm looking at your income and thinking about how we can create a distinction in your world that will cause your world to be safer and better. And here's what can happen. Now, imagine we see what the government does, right? On W 2 income, they take their portion before you ever see your pay. Well, that's a pretty good project. That's a pretty good program. Why not you doing the same thing where you propose to your residents, hey, every pay period, there's an amount coming out that's direct deposited into our account, and we're giving you credit for that. Now, think of it this way. What if your rent is $1,000 a month? Now, what if now every pay period, $500 is paid directly to you? Well, what does that do? In 12 months, you've collected your whole paycheck. In fact, you've collected 13 months when you've collected it at $500 every pay period, if they're paid every 2 weeks, which a whole lot of people are. Now, we think of it this way, that you got 26 paychecks coming in. Instead of 12 checks coming in, you got 26. What does that do for your resident? Well, we tell our resident we're actually over collecting by doing it this way. And here's what's good for you. By the end of a year, we've actually got an extra month on hand. Now, we can use that extra month as a lifesaver account. And what that does for you is if you ever hit a bump in the road, you hit a job loss, you hit a snag where you just can't make the payment that month, it's not a problem because we already have a month on hand. And after 2 years, you got 2 months on hand. And after 3 years, you got 3 months on hand. Well, what can they do with that money? That now becomes money that they can use if you want to sell the property to them. So that's another thing we do on our path to home ownership plan, right? We want our residents to have the opportunity to buy your house or a different house. We're helping them to build up their credit. We're helping them to build up their down payment. We're helping them to build up a future. So if you've helped them to now accumulate that extra month per year, that's money that can be used for down payment. And we tell them, this is your money. We can gift this to you, give this to you, whatever the case may be. But they've got money on hand to protect their future. And you've got money on hand to protect your future as well. So hopefully you love that idea. And there's many more actually that I share with you at our trainings. And remarkably, we've got an event coming up this week. It's called Massive Passive Income. That's one of the ideas with the paperwork, by the way, with the paperwork for you to be able to do that payroll deduction / direct deposit. Now, once you get this into your world, like so many of my clients that have learned from me, this will actually become the way you do business. Many of my clients have all of their residents on direct deposit. How cool is that? Direct deposit right into your account every pay period. So you're not putting the burden on them to come up with that big fat whole paycheck that sometimes stresses them out. You now have the ability to split up their payment. Now you've got also, what have you got? You've got cash flow throughout the month instead of just waiting for that one time a month when all the money comes in. It's actually coming in throughout the month. And I promise you that's going to be a big game changer for you. Now, at Massive Passive Income, that's not all I'm going to cover. I'm actually going to cover the entire process of managing these properties long term, because I'm the buy, hold, sell guy, right? So in between the buying and the selling is the holding, and there's massive passive income that can come in as a result of that. And one of the things we do and the distinctions that we make is we actually give our residents the opportunity to someday purchase that home or a different home. Now, I'm going to be going through that entire process while we're together. And in fact, I'm going to be going through all the paperwork. And I'm going to tell you some protections, profit centers. We've got 25 different profit centers over and above what a typical landlord makes. So that's one of the things that you need the distinction in your business. If you are a holder of property, I promise you there's a whole lot more money on the table that you could be capturing. Your residents are actually spending this money with other people. They could be spending it with you. And this is a beautiful income stream to go with the residual income model that I'm a big believer in the buy, hold, sell strategy. So definitely join me this week. Now we're going to be starting on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Atlanta, Georgia. Maybe you can hop in the car and come join us live and in person. We've got a great group of people coming, and that it's always exciting and more energized when you can come and be present. We're also have it online, so you've got the opportunity to join us. StreetSmartMPI.com, or you can call our office 1-800-578-8580. Now, again, I've got 25 different profit centers that I'm going to be laying out there. And one of the most special things is I've got a bonus for you. This bonus is an autofill of all of our documentation. So basically you can fill out one page and boom, it automatically fills out the entire package. So whether you're just renting or you're renting with the option to buy, or you're selling the property to them on an agreement for deed with in-house owner financing, or you're selling it for cash, we've got it all set up on an autofill where you can just easily fill it in and boom, it auto populates all your documents. So it makes your closing so easy with your residents. They absolutely love you. But there's a number of things in terms of collections, notifications, disclosures. All those things are included in the package. So want to present that to you as a special bonus for attending the 4-day event. There's going to be a lot of information about how to advance your business, how to triple your income on each property. So definitely, I'd love to see you there for that. Scott, I know that you've got some questions for me today. I know that there's a bunch of stuff coming in. And by the way, you guys, this is what I'm doing for you. So any questions that you have about real estate, about buying properties, holding properties, selling properties, about renovations, lease options, owner financing, about borrowing money at the right price, low cost from private money sources, not from banks. That's another thing I specialize in. And next week, I'm going to be focused on those trusts, land trusts, personal property trusts, the elite trust. We're going to talk about the importance of protecting your assets because, hey, asset protection is what it's all about. But Scott, what do you have for me today? I'm sitting here in my backyard, y'all. Look at
Yeah,
this.
it looks like a great spot.
It's a beautiful
Wow.
spot, y'all. I just love it out here, and there's a lake down below there, so that's where we go fishing and all that good stuff. So love our little paradise out here.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about was talking, if we could get you to talk a little bit about the Street Smart Work for Equity program, because oftentimes when people are looking to get into a house, first of all, if they're renters and they think all they can do is rent, there's a lot more options than they know. And this is one of the really cool ones that you've put together.
You know, Scott, it's a topic in and of itself, really, because there is so much to say about it. It was an absolute game changer when I came up with the idea, that people are struggling. They have a challenge. Sometimes they don't have all the down payment money necessary. They want to lease the property with the option to buy. And I'll tell you a quick story about that. They want to buy the property using owner financing because they can't qualify for a loan at the bank, but they just don't have enough down payment money. So I came up with this idea. Look, they've got some cash. That's a great thing. And that's why most people are just renters, because all they have is just enough for a security deposit, but they really don't have enough to move themselves ahead in the game of life, in the game of ownership of property. So I said, what can we do to assist these people? I came up with the idea of allowing them the opportunity to do some or all of the repairs on the home. Now, sometimes that's as little as painting the walls or doing landscaping around the property. Sometimes it's cleaning the carpets and just trashing out the property, cleaning up the property. And sometimes it's something much more significant than that, where we're talking drywall, electrical, plumbing, roofing, heating and air conditioning, and so on. Well, for professionals, that's what they do, and tied in with other people that do those things, it's no big deal for them. In fact, they're very attracted to it. So I came up with the idea that people could look at our home and they could determine, look, I don't want to do any repairs. Fine, we'll do all the repairs. Not a problem. Hopefully you have enough money. If they don't, and they're willing to do some of the repairs, not a problem. They go through the property and choose what they want to do and can do and are capable of doing. Now, we're looking for professionals. We're looking for people that can do that work and are pros at doing that work. If there's something, higher level, such as heating and air conditioning, electrical, plumbing, roofing, we want professionals that are going to be able to do that. Here's what's interesting. We'll allow our people to do work on someone else's home for credit on their own home. So let's say that another house needs a roof. Well, we'll let them do the roof on the other house for that client over there. That client doesn't get any credit for it because they couldn't do the roof, but my client gets credit on their own home for doing that roof over there. So that's another way that we can parlay their talents and their skills and their licensing to be able to help them build up their down payment as well. So the Work for Equity program has been a phenomenal game changer. That is one of the big things that we do cover at MPI, Massive Passive Income, because it was a huge, most of the houses I do now, people choose to do some or all of the repairs on. We don't require it. Like I said, it's not a requirement. People can choose to have us do 100% of the repairs. We just did one for a client. They didn't want to do anything. She works 2 jobs. She didn't have any time left over to be able to do anything. Not a problem. We went in and did everything. Good news, she had enough money for us to be able to do that. But, it's a real gift that we're giving people when we give them the opportunity at home ownership. It's a real gift when we can give them the option to buy the property. Because one of the things that just happened to us yesterday, one of our clients was asking us to move up on the path to home ownership. And we looked, he's been in the property almost 3 years now. Now, his strike price on the option to buy is $118,000. In looking at what the property is worth right now, the property is worth about $160,000. So my client is really making out big time, and he's so excited because what did he do? He took action in his life. Now we're happy. We're happy that this client has made the commitment years ago for the option to purchase this property, and now is stepping up to the next level on the path to home ownership. We're so proud of him, and we'll definitely have a video of that. But just look at what you are doing to impact someone else's life and help them build equity. Now, this is someone that otherwise would not have had the chance to do it. So Work for Equity is a great thing. Lease with the option to buy is a great thing. Learn about these tools, learn about these techniques, because this is something that is a game changer for landlords. I'm the anti-landlord, right? I say that there are so many other ways we can make money in this business without just landlording. So that's been my focus, and that's our focus this week for sure too.
Lou, one of our viewers was excited about the owner financing information, and I thought, can you explain what owner financing is? Because in my mind, it's when I'm an owner, I need financing, I go to the bank because that's the only thing I've ever been taught. If you want money in a mortgage, where do you go? You go to the bank, and of course that is the only way to get your money, right, Lou?
Scott, that's a great point. I was at a charity function on Saturday night, and it was for autism and the spectrum, and we're participants in that in terms of being donors and what have you. And we were invited there, and one of the people there, her son, 3 years old, is on the spectrum. Talking to her, she works for, let's say, one of the largest banks. She's been with them for 12 years. And she said, one of the things I was talking to her about is, well, we take all your leftovers. So everybody that you can't qualify, I said, does it ever happen, you as a banker, does it ever happen where you can't qualify for? She says, all the time. And I said, so they've got you in a box, right? And she said, that's exactly right. She said, we cannot go outside the box. They give us scripts. They tell us never, never, never go out of this box right here. And she said, there's so many people that we turn down. I said, well, all we're interested in is your leftovers. Everybody that you cannot help, we can possibly help. And with our program, she was so thrilled with what I was sharing with her. In fact, she's going to be coming to my Wealth Builder workshop on the 10th of July. And her mother as well was there, and she's coming as well. But one of the things she told me is that she is absolutely in the box and can't do anything else. So Scott, the question is, what about owner financing? So many people are kicked out of the box, and they're told, we can't help you because you're not inside the box. You don't fit these four corners, these parameters. Well, what we can do in our world is we can lend our equity. So when we lend our equity, That is owner financing. That's the owner of the property giving the opportunity to the person that's moved in to pay principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, very similar to a mortgage. And we give something called an agreement for deed. Now, agreement for deed works similar to a car. Whenever you buy a car and you get it financed, they let you drive the car, they let you use the car, they let you insure the car, but they keep the title to the vehicle until you pay them off. Well, this works exactly the same way. We allow people to move into the property. They make their payments. As long as they make their payments, when they finish making their payments or they refinance and get a new loan from the bank, they pay us off. At that time, we give them the deed to the property. And that works out magnificently well for all parties involved. You know, it's just been a great process that we've been able to help people to end up with homeownership. One of the folks I was looking at just this week, he bought his property from us last year, and we gave him, exactly what he agreed to on his option. We gave him that option. He exercised his option to buy. We gave him owner financing, and now that property is worth $50,000 more than what we sold it to him for. So that's another example. I'm giving you another example on this same session, but basically it's a great opportunity for people to advance themselves, and it's a great opportunity for you as an investor as well, because now that client that's living in the home is taking on all the responsibilities of repairs, just like every homeowner does, right? Every homeowner has the responsibility. If their air conditioning goes out, they got to call a repairman and get their air conditioning fixed. If the roof leaks, they got to get a roofer in there to repair the roof. Well, that's what we're doing with these folks. We're giving them the opportunity at homeownership. We're providing our equity as their funding for the purchase of the home, and they're paying us instead of paying the bank. And at any time in that process, they can use their newfound credit and their built up credit and their improved credit to now qualify for a loan at the bank. And that now they can get a new loan, hopefully at a lower interest rate now that they've built up their credit. So it's a real opportunity for people. And thank you, Erica, for the question. Owner financing is a really great thing, and it's a really great thing for an investor. It's a really great thing for the customer that might use that financing as well.
Lou, we had a question from a real estate investor who does not speak Spanish, but he says, I've been thinking about the Latino market, and can you talk a little bit about the challenges and opportunities that are there?
Well, what you're talking about a community that's very near and dear to my heart. Folks say that they want home ownership and things like that, but sometimes it's ingrained in your blood. Sometimes it's cultural that home ownership is what's expected in your family. And certainly the Latino community is one example of that. And so in their world, they're always working towards home ownership. And one of the great things in offering our Work for Equity program, for example, is that they can come in and do some or all of the repairs. They absolutely love that. And then the opportunity for us to be the bank for them without having to go to banks and qualify for loans. That's another thing they absolutely love. And so it's a market to actually expose yourself to. Now, what we've done is we've taken our trifold brochure and we've converted that into Spanish. We have all of our House Monster marketing in Spanish. We have our websites in Spanish, converted to Spanish. So it's definitely a community that we want to serve, and we do serve. We have many of our folks that are from that community and absolutely love and share with their friends too about what we do, and bring us customers that way as well.
Awesome. So we're coming towards the end of our time together, Lou, and
Got a load in there. got a load of info in there. I hope you guys
We,
are enjoying this. Do let us know. Do let us know if this has been valuable to you, if you enjoy this, if you want us to continue doing these Tuesday afternoon at 5 o'clock or 5:05 p.m. to
right.
give you an opportunity to tap into our world. We would love to be able to help you and advance your business, advance what you're doing in your communities. We see ourselves as changing and improving communities, and we are looking for folks that want to do the same thing. We are a part of a nationwide network and a movement to cause home ownership in this country, something that's disappearing because of the cost of housing and because of the cost of rents and things like that. It's more and more difficult for people to be able to qualify to purchase properties. And we want to be that difference. We know we can be. We know we are that. We are in many communities across the country making a difference, and love to invite you into our world so that you can make a difference in your community as well.
Wanted to give a shout out to Jean. She says, yes, please continue these calls. Thank
Froze
you.
up a little bit, Scott.
Just a shout out to Jean. She said, please continue these calls. Thank you.
I'm sorry,
And
Scott, you broke up.
all right. So, Lou, one
Gene.
last,
Gene says, please continue these calls. Thank you, Gene. I appreciate that feedback.
yes. And Lou, you do a lot of trainings throughout the year, but you've said on more than one occasion that this coming up training, which happens to be, let me just wait for it. This is one of the most important trainings of the year that you do. And can you just take a minute and explain to all of us why it's so important?
I think one of the misnomers for a lot of people is they think it's so simple. You just get a property and then you put out an ad and then you get an application. Maybe you screen the application, maybe you don't. People come along with the green bucks and the greenbacks and they're ready to give them to you, and you suddenly make a mistake, and that mistake can be extremely costly. As we've seen over the last year, there's been many landlords that have made terrible mistakes in their choices of residence, only to not have received rent for over a year now. And we definitely want to help you avoid that. One of the things I did was take my business apart, and I said, what are the pain points in this business? What are the things that don't work? What are the biggest challenges that we have? And I literally took that. It's sort of like taking a toy apart and you've got all the parts laid out. I did the same thing with my business, and I said, how can we improve on this? And what I've developed is something quite remarkable on profitability for landlords, dramatically different profits than a typical landlord makes. And I love to share that because it's just important that people really learn that there is a distinction in how you do your business. There is a distinction in doing good while doing well, making a difference in your community. So I want to share that with you. And I say that this is such an important piece of the training, because if you're a believer in residual income, if you're a believer in a retirement plan where you actually have the opportunity to now have the income off your property for not only a flipping a property and receiving that money, but also every single month after month. And I even showed you on today's call how you could even get it week after week, a tremendous income. And the same property, I can show you how to triple the income on that same property. So that's exactly the distinctions that I cover at Massive Passive Income. Love to have you there. It's going to be this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Atlanta. If you can join me live, what a great thing. If you can't join me live, you can join me online. So we've got the opportunity for you to tap into that, streetsmartmpi.com. And the other thing is to call our 800 number, 1-800-578-8580. give yourself the gift of really advancing your business, learning from somebody with over 40 years of buying, holding, and selling property. So certainly that's an opportunity for you to tap into your world and tap into my world rather, and see, what 40 years of learning and thousands of residents over those years to definitely make some distinctions in what works and what doesn't, and give you the right paperwork and the right steps and tools to be able to have success in your business.
All right. Thanks, Lou. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day. And everybody, head over to streetsmartmpi.com and sign up. It'll be the best 4 days of your life. And you too can have a backyard like Lou.
Wouldn't that be great? I love to help people advance their world and advance their business. So definitely look forward to seeing you soon. Yeah, baby.